Hello you as well. Every few years Thrustmaster release a new wheel, a new rim, something very special, something different, something they haven't done before. And you can see me here back in 2011 when they first showed the new Ferrari Formula 1 rim there, as you can see it being unboxed at the time as well. Very special it was too. And then of course a few years later as well, the 599XX wheel as well being shown, and of course that had a rather unusual unboxing as well with the Ferrari. There we have it, and there was a step change in terms of the quality every time, from almost a toy-like wheel to something becoming more and more like reality, and now you're getting to rims that are as close to reality as they can be. Well, this time we've got something special. It's the 70th anniversary of Ferrari. Recently Assetto Corsa released their pack with the new 250 GTO. Very, very rare Ferrari as well. Only 36 manufactured between 1962 and 1964. Stunning piece of engineering when you see these, and I think it's amazing in terms of performance as well. You know, 300 brake horsepower. But now we have the new 250 GTO wheel add-on here. As you can see, it's beautifully packaged throughout. Really, really premium design and look and feel to the packaging there, with the official Ferrari logo on there. And of course, just having a look at the box, just everything, no expense spared in terms of the packaging. Really nice look and feel to it. And as we slide the wheel out, you can see it here. Beautiful, beautiful wheel. Look at that. Really nice, lovely, really nice wheel. And you can see it there as well as we're sliding it out the box. Beautiful with the wood rim. Really nice details throughout. I mean, it's basically perfect, isn't it? And so this gives you your chance in terms of Ferrari fans. I mean, this is very much aimed at the sort of specialist market, very specialist in terms of Ferrari fans and those who want a pure driving experience. You know, we're not on here talking of reviewing the wheel in terms of buttons and connectivity. As you can see, it is a steering wheel. It's about as basic as it gets in that sense, but it's all you need. It's all about the driving, it's all about manual gears, and you can see there just to look at the detail of the wood and the metal that's been detailed as well, just to make it just like the real car. As we go through the rest of the unboxing, I like to get it out, have a feel of it, as you do. There it is, very nicely packaged. And getting to the wheel itself, which is coated in this sponge, so there's no scratches. It's the sort of wheel you do want to keep clean. I do find myself polishing it after use just to keep it super clean. It looks really nice, you know. It's not something you want to get fingerprints all over. And there you can see how it bolts on as well as the subtle Thrustmaster logo you'll see on the back as well. No Thrustmaster logo on the front of the wheel, and it's very special. Look at that. Really nice. When you hold the wheel initially, just getting a feel for it really, it's quite light comparatively compared to other wheels that bolt on. The metal is surprisingly sharp in its own way. Do not put your fingers in there when it's calibrating. You'll lose them, and you find that as well when you're actually driving and you're fighting the force feedback. There's a sharpness to the wheel. So you find yourself holding the wheel in different positions, but you are using the whole wheel when you're using this. You're not just using the sides, you know. And I've increased the rotation. There's the Thrustmaster logo subtly on the back there as well. Really nice. And of course it's a Ferrari official product, so you have that on the box. Everything here is premium, and you can tell that Ferrari have clearly been involved in signing this off, and it's really nice. So first thing really was to jump in the car, go for a spin. Now I'm not going to push the limits here. Obviously I'm using the 8-shifter gearbox. I've got my gearbox. I know my gears are on my left hand side. We do that in the UK. Obviously the real car, it would have been on the other side, but the time was quite limited in getting hold of the firmware to make this video. And there is new firmware. It's not up on the Thrustmaster website at the time of making this video, but it will be up in the coming days, no doubt. And some information on the wheel then. So this rim is going to be available from the 20th of December A suggested retail price of $399, so it's an expensive rim in terms of what it is. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's a premium product with a premium price that will probably be quite limited, so this really is one for the fans. But there is something about the driving experience that is pure in its own way, and I was learning how to drive this car. Tricky on the cobbles around here. You need the car understeers a lot. On the brakes, you've got to balance the brake pedal, be progressive. The wheels will lock easily. Put too much power through the wheels on a corner and the car will step out, and you need to control the power to regain control of the car due to the weight, otherwise the weight of it will just overtake you. So you're preparing the car for the corner all the time. Give it a bit of oversteer on the way in. The car does tend to understeer and lean a bit, and you'll see that just on the replay there, how it's leaning a little bit, leaning under the brakes, and very much like watching Goodwood Festival Speed when you're seeing these guys pushing the cars beyond their limits. Wonderful to see these cars at speed. You're not seeing that here, of course. These are laps where I'm just literally getting used to it. Not the best surface for racing in that sense. And overall, just getting a feel for the gearbox as well. Now I'm using this on the PC with the TSXW base. And of course that's compatible with PC and Xbox. The rim itself is compatible with a wide range of bases. We'll put all of those on the website. But the core ones, obviously, TSPC Racer, TSXW, TGT, T500 RS, T300 and TX wheels. They're the key range there. And of course here I'm using here the TH8A add-on shifter, which I'm using in the H pattern to give it the authentic feel, which just wouldn't be the same with a sequential. I think you need to get used to your clutch and improving that side of things. You will see, I think, the second race you're going to see me just driving around Monza 66, and I was just mentioning earlier, 300 brake horsepower, 7,400 RPM. It's a lot of power for this type of car. It's a very rigid car. For the time, the performance is exceptional, but by today's standards, we're used to super sort of cars that are so well set up in terms of grip and performance that here you need to measure your speed into the corners, balance the throttle, and improve your speed as you go around there. So I'm using this on my triple screen rig, enjoying it immensely. And you'll see on the next video, as I was mentioning, a slight mistake with my gear changes. Obviously if you're too quick on the clutch, you've got to just re-engage that gear, and this gearbox doesn't take much, I can tell you. So you've got to be very conscious of where your braking point is, getting down through the gears, getting your speed down before you get turned into the corner. You don't want to lock up the rear axle or something like that, and then suddenly you're facing the wrong way. Also, if you get too much power through the corner, if you get on the power too early, you'll find the car overtaking you as well from the rear. In many respects, a lot of these cars for this era were like rockets. They had very thin, hard tyres. They weren't slicks by today's standards. And of course here we are in Monza 66 now as well. So the difference with the last track and this one really was the last one was a bit more twisty turny. This one is obviously it's high speed straights, and then you're going up into much higher gears and down through the gears into the corners, so you have longer braking zones. This corner is actually quite tricky, this one we're coming up to, simply because you have to gauge the speed, and that can be a bit of judgment call. I was going wide there, but I managed to keep it together, and now I go into this next corner. I make a mistake on the gears coming into the corner coming up. Just gives you an example, was if you try getting it into gear and it doesn't work, just re-engage and continue. So I was heavy braking going down, didn't quite engage it properly on the clutch and made a mistake there. So it shows mistakes are easy to make. You've really got to get into a rhythm with this car, and that's it now. I understand where I am now with the braking there, and continue. Goodness me, you would not want to do that in the real car. It's worth an absolute fortune, but most of us in probably 100% of us watching this video won't get to drive the real car, and probably those that own the car probably don't drive it very often either, simply because it's valued so highly. But I find that there was something authentic about driving it on this course. I can imagine someone driving this car on this course at the time. You know, there is a certain vulnerability in it when you're traveling at these kinds of speeds in these old cars. You know, you can't just get on the brakes and slow the car down. If there's a problem, you know, you lock the brakes and the car will just spin out. Even corners like this are quite tricky because of the power. You can see there a bit too much power. I'm trying to find the right balance of grip. On board now, going towards the banked corners. And when we go into the banking, you feel a lot more rumble through the force feedback on the wheel. And I think something I noticed was because of the light weight of the rim, that it was quite punishing, the force feedback. It was very strong, but here you was really feeling the bumps, and that's where those metal bits were quite sharp for what they were as well. So it's just interesting feeling what the drivers would have been dealing with driving these cars in terms of from a sort of racing perspective. Obviously this is more of a casual cruiser in many ways, I'd like to think. It's more about showing off your beautiful Ferrari. It's still stunning as well, but you need to run it authentically on the Ferrari. In this video I have another video coming up. I test another car as well on this course as well, just to try it out. But I think when you're driving cars, you know, you want to get into just manual gears, the real true driving experience. You can't beat it. So this is you know, a wonderful piece of kit in terms of for the collector, and it's something which I'll be testing more of on various different cars now and again. It's a much more involving driving experience. I could say it's a bit more tiring driving experience as well, actually, because you need to relearn these courses. You can't just jump in. You really do need to progressively build your speed and understand where the braking points are. If you miss a braking point, the cars, the genre of cars are very unforgiving into the corners. And so I made the mistake before. I realised, no, I know where my braking point is now. Probably a bit offline. I could have done with being a bit wider, but that's okay. You tend to not use as much of the track when you're exploring a car and understanding where you can lean on it more on the power and the exits. Getting the car into gear. In no rush, you know, I wasn't needing to throw it into gear like a racing car. I wanted to be comfortable and enjoy the drive, simulate the real driving experience in that way. So I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing, this look at the 250 GTO wheel. It's again another step forward for Thrustmaster in terms of the quality and moving forward with what they've been doing. It's good for the entire wheel market. I think it's great to see the professionalism and the detail of the wheels. It's great to see it getting closer to the automotive heritage, and it's something that I've seen, seeing, you know, models of cars in racing games we've not seen before, but also getting real car enthusiasts enjoying motorsport and racing games in this way. You know, it really brings it together. So it's really nice to see these steps forward being made in terms of the technology of the games, the cars involved, and the wheels being used as well. And it's really important part in terms of the steps forward from Thrustmaster and other manufacturers, especially with what we've seen with all the esports and the connections to the motor industry sort of developing all the time. But that's it for this look at the Ferrari 250 GTO wheel. As I said before, it's available on the 20th of December, so you've got a few weeks to save up that pocket money at retail price of €399. €399, it's not cheap, as I say. It is a collectible, and it is a very special limited edition, no doubt. So that's it from me for now. Hope you've enjoyed this first look at the Thrustmaster wheel, and as ever, there'll be more from me very soon.